Hello kids, welcome to the Latigo Tech channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a game like this. Hey, hey, hey. The more you jump, the more you get marks, and if you want to get to the next level, you get to the edge and touch it. And if the rock starts, get your pens and papers and jotters ready. Let's get to the classroom. Okay. So I'm using Scratch 3. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we need to have our sprite or our characters. Currently we have the cat, okay? And we're going to look for more sprite. So we need to have a rock, we need to have a button to start the game, we need to have buttons to move left and right, okay? And basically we also need a button to stop the game. Okay, so let's go and get these buttons ready. So we click on this one here, then we are looking for rocks. There we go. And we go back again. We need button, so we can just see it here. Back again. We need arrow. There we go. So we have these things here. So let's put this here, put the rock here, and put the cat here, and put the arrow down. Now we need 3 arrows, one for left, one for right, and one for up. So what we're going to do is that this is our first arrow here. We have to rename it to right. So this is facing the right. Right click on it, duplicate, and change the name to left. Okay. Right click on it and change the name to up. Okay. So this will be, let's rename this to left, and then rename this one to right. Okay, so now we're going to edit these buttons so they can face the right directions. So let's start with the left. So move these two. Let's start with the left. Go to costumes, and then this button is facing right, so we take it off, and then we delete the other ones, so the button will face to the left. Okay. And then one more thing we can do here is that we want to have what to call it, and we want to add a button on top of this one, okay, so that it can show it clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll pick this one here, go here, change the color to black, and then you click here, drag to this. Now it has covered it, but don't worry, this is what you can do. Take the select tool, go to this and send it to the back, so it will be on top of it, as you can see here. Right? Great. Now let's go to the right one. This is facing right, so we leave this and then we delete this, that, and then this one. We do the same thing. Pick this button. That is the rectangle tool. Drag to draw something to highlight it so it can be seen clearly. Take the select tool, send it to back. That is also for the right arrow. Now we are doing it for the up tool, so this is out, this, and we are left with the up. So we take the rectangle tool, click to drag to draw it this way, take the select tool, send it to back. And there we go, we have these things set. Alright, the next thing we need is to get a backdrop. The backdrop will make our interface look much better. You can get list of backdrops here. You click here and you have backdrops here. You can pick any backdrop at all you want. If you also want, you can customize your backdrop. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to customize your backdrop. So you go to this backdrop, click on it, go to backdrops here, then we pick the rectangle tool. We're going to draw 3 rectangles here, one for the buttons, one for the rock and the cat to walk on, and then one for something like the sky. So I'm going to draw something for the buttons here. I'm going to look for a white color. So remove these things. This is white here, and then the outline, you can't deselect the outline, or you can leave it this way. So I'm going to leave the outline as black. Then you click down here and drag to draw. So this place, I'm going to set up my buttons to be on top of this. So when I want up, left and right, I click on this button. So if you are using your mobile phone, it will be easier for you to get these buttons to do that. And next, back to the backdrop again. Okay, click on the backdrop. We'll pick the shape, change the color to green. I'll go to a deeper one and remove the outline. You just deselect by clicking this. We don't need outline. You click to drag and draw it here. So we have a green here. Okay, let's take the select tool and move it a little bit up here so we can see the difference here. Back to the backdrop. The last one is to change it again and get a blue color. So I'm going to look for something that looks like the sky. This is okay for me, and I'll take this, no outline, then you draw that rectangle also here. There we go. So this looks nicer. You have a nice backdrop. Okay, now you can draw a second backdrop again that would show something like a next level. So we can have a lot of levels here. I'm just going to right click on this. I'll call this backdrop 1. It's already backdrop 1. So I'm going to draw a similar one but with different colors. Okay, so I'll right click on this and duplicate it. So all you need to do, you click the select tool, select this, change the color, make it much deeper, maybe looking like a night. Let's just make it deeper. Then you select this, change the color, make it lighter, okay, or maybe much more deeper. And then the last one here, we just have to make it a little bit ash color, giving it this way. So this will show that we are in the different level. Alright, so this is the main stage. Right, moving on. So this is how our stage will look like. Okay, this is how it looks like. Right, so the first thing we are going to do is that we're going to customize our button to start the game. Okay, so we can call this start. So the button called start, let's click on it and go to the costumes. We're going to put a text on top of this so that when we click we can start the game. So select text, we just use a white color to do that. Click, change the text to pixel. You can click back again and type play. You can use the select tool to move it to the center. You can use it to also increase the size. So this way it will much clearer for you to see. Move to the next one, take text, click, type play, and as usual select. You can enlarge it, move it back again to fit here. So this is the first button that we can use to play the game. This is okay, yeah. So now that is our button to start the game. So we're going to do the code for the button. So the first thing we need to do is that when we start the game, we go to event and take when clicked. When clicked means that when you click on this green button, you can start the game. You can also use this when space key pressed. That is when you press the space key on your keyboard, you can start the game. But we are going to use this when clicked to start our game. So the next thing we're going to do is we want to let this button stay where it is whenever the game starts, when we load the game. So we go to motion, take go to. So currently this is the location of the button. X is 7 and Y is 118, so as you can see there. Then you switch the costume. Currently we have 2 costumes, so we want the first one to be at the top. So we say switch costume to 2A because that's the first one. Okay, and then it has to be shown. We want to see it, so we take show. When we start, it should be shown. Okay, and then we are going to do something here so it can loop. So we take forever and put it down here, and then we want it to move to the next costume. See, from this to this, from this to this. We want it to keep blinking that way. So if it does that, let's click and then you see what will happen. So you see it's blinking, but it's moving quite faster. So I think what we can do is to slow it down. We go to control and take wait 1 second and put it here. Then we start. So every 1 second it changes. Okay, so that is it. Then we stop. All right, now when we click on the sprite, what we can do is that when we start the game, we can play sound. So we go to sound and then play pop until down. Take this. We are not playing the pop. Let's go and get a different sound. So we click on sounds, click on this. Then if you want any sound, you just move your mouse pointer over them and you get the different sound. So I need to take this sound here, cave. So just click on it, go back to the code and change this to cave. So when we start the game, let's stop that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we need to have our score. So when we start the game, the score should be ready to go. So we click on variable and then make a variable and then we type score. So that's the score there. So when we click on this button, that is when the game is going to start. Okay, so you're going to say, let me come. Okay, so we see when this sprite clicked, that is when we click on this. We want the score, so go to variable to be 0, set score to 0. Okay, we're going to set the score to 0. Then we send a signal for the other sprite to start the game. So we broadcast a message and we call that message start. This means all the other sprites will get the message and they can start to move, to do their actions. Okay, then so let's check that out. Click on this. So that is how it's going to look like. But after giving out the broadcasting this message to start, we need to hide the button so we can have the space to play our game. So we put hide. So let's see that. So this is how the game will look like. Okay. Now so that is how the button will start the game. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next sprite. Now the next thing is to go to the arrows here, the arrows, so that whenever we click on the arrows or when we are playing it on our mobile phone, when we touch on these buttons, then the cat will start to move. So let's go back to the buttons and do that. So I'll start with the left. And so with that, when we start, or when this button receives the signal to start, so we go to event and say when I receive start, that is when the message is sent to it to start the game. when I receive start, so then it has to always, we will leave them here, which will always be shown here. When it receives start, it's going to do something that will loop it continuously. It is going to send a variable to the sprite, that's the cat, and the cat will use that to move. So let's go to variables and create a variable. So we call this variable, we call it move left. Click OK. So we then bring a condition here, move to control, take if, then else. We'll go back to the variable, or go to control and take this here, put it here, and we're going to put two conditions here. Go back to sensing. If we touch the mouse pointer, let me take it out here and then put them inside so you can see. Putting it here. If we touch the mouse pointer, or if we click, that is mouse down, then we are going to set move left to 1. But if we don't touch it, move left should be 0. So when we click on it, the move left will change to 1, but if we don't click on it, it should be 0. So if it is 0, no action is sent. So we are going to do the same code for the other two buttons. So to do that, the easiest way to do is to select this, click on it and hold it, drag it to right and drop it. Then you go back to right here. It is copied onto this is how to copy in Sprite. So this is right, not left. So we are going to change it to right. So we create another variable and call it move right. So all we need to change here to right and here to right. Then we do that for the app. So we'll drag it and drop it on this, move there, and then we also create a variable called move up. Then we change it to up and here to up. Right, so these three buttons are set to go. So whenever we press them, they will send a signal to the cat, and the cat will do it as a function for us. However, what we need to do is to clean our screen. We have move left, move right, and move up. We don't need them. So, for instance, if I start the game and I but we don't need them to be shown on the screen. So what we'll do is to uncheck them from this list. Alright. Now, the next thing we are going to do now is to work on the cat. We're going to work on the cat. And before that, we need to bring the costumes of the cat. Alright, so let's go, select the cat. You can change the name here, we call it Kitty. Then we move to costumes. We have two costumes here, we take the last one here. And then we click here to load the other costumes. Sorry. We put your mouse pointer here and move to the top. And then you click. So I have a list of costumes here on my desktop. So I'm just going to highlight all of it and click to open them. Alright, so these are my costumes. I don't need the first one. I'm going to click this to delete the first one. Now I'll leave these costumes on the description below so you can have a copy of it for your project. Now this is the first one here, so I'll drop it on top of this, and this is the rock. Right, so that is how the cat will look like. Now what we need to do is that the cat will have to receive some signals, and then when we press the buttons, that is when the signal will be sent to the cat and the cat will start moving. Now we'll do this in the next video. Okay, alright. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep practicing to perfect your coding. Bye for now.